The German Princess. Mary Carleton's scandalous life of lies and celebrity. Hey, truth seekers and lovers of audacious tales. What if a woman, born into obscurity, could simply decide to be a princess, charm her way into high society, and then, when exposed, turn her very trial into a theatrical triumph? What if her life was a relentless performance, a masterclass in deception that captivated an entire nation? Today, we're tearing open the astonishing, often unbelievable, saga of Mary Carleton, famously known as the German Princess. We'll peel back the layers of her carefully constructed identities, expose the scandalous marriages, the shocking courtroom dramas, and the audacious escapes that made her the 17th century's ultimate celebrity criminal. This isn't just history. It's a raw, unfiltered journey into the heart of a woman who wielded lies like a weapon and became a legend in her own time. Get ready, because the true story of Mary Carleton is a relentless tale of ambition, cunning, and a legacy that still sparks debate about truth and illusion. Our story begins not in a palace, but in the humble, provincial town of Canterbury, England, around 1642. Here, Mary Modus was born, the daughter of a chorister. From an early age, Mary was different. She devoured romantic novels and tales of knight-errantry, losing herself in stories of cunning heroines and noble ladies. These fantastical narratives ignited a spark within her, a dangerous ambition that made her frequently conceited herself a princess or a lady of high quality. Her first marriage was a stark contrast to her grand dreams. She was reportedly forced into wedlock with a journeyman shoemaker named Thomas Stedman. The union was miserable, and after their 2 children tragically died in infancy, Mary, unable to endure the extravagances her husband couldn't support, resolved to leave him and seek her fortune. This was her first audacious act of self-reinvention. She fled to Dover, where she quickly married a surgeon named Thomas Day, committing her first act of bigamy. The law at the time considered bigamy a serious felony, potentially punishable by death. But Mary, even then, possessed an uncanny ability to escape consequences. When she was arrested and tried in Maidstone, her first husband couldn't afford to travel and testify. With no witnesses against her, Mary, through some masterly stroke, was acquitted. This early triumph only emboldened her. Emboldened, she ventured further afield, traveling to Cologne, Germany. Here, she reportedly engaged in a brief affair with a local nobleman. She charmed him, received valuable presents, and even had him preparing for marriage. But Mary, ever the opportunist, slipped away from Germany with all his gifts and most of her landlady's money, returning to England through the Netherlands. She was a woman on the make, constantly seeking new identities and new fortunes. In 1663, Mary Modus arrived in London, ready for her grandest performance yet. She adopted the persona of an orphaned Princess van Woolway from Cologne, claiming her father was a German lord and that she had fled a possessive lover. She hinted at vast fortunes soon to arrive from Germany, a clever ploy to attract wealthy suitors. Her cultivated mannerisms, sharp wit, and skill at appearing part of the highest ranks of society were so convincing that many Londoners were utterly bamboozled. Her charm soon captivated John Carleton, an ambitious lawyer's clerk who, ironically, was also masquerading as a nobleman to attract a wealthy bride. It was a mutual deception, a whirlwind 2-week courtship built on a foundation of lies. They married in April 1663. The honeymoon phase was short-lived. When John's parents tried to sell some of Mary's jewelry, they discovered it was counterfeit. An anonymous letter then exposed her true identity: Mary Modus, the shoemaker's wife. The Carletons, furious and humiliated, had her indicted and tried for bigamy at the Old Bailey in June 1663. This was a capital crime, meaning conviction could lead to execution. The courtroom became Mary's stage. She entered with her head held high, walking with the confidence of a true princess. She pleaded not guilty, and in a stunning display of her formidable arts of persuasion, she turned the accusations back on John, claiming he had lied about his wealth and status. "You told me you were a lord, and I told you I was a princess, and I think I fitted you," she famously retorted. The prosecution, perhaps overconfident, bungled their case, producing few witnesses and relying on hearsay, which the judge dismissed. Mary's performance on the stand was so compelling that the jury acquitted her. Instead of a humbled convict, Mary became the darling of fashionable London, a scandalous celebrity. She was visited by gawkers while still in custody, and she shrewdly exploited her newfound fame, extracting gifts and confidences from those who rose to her defense. Mary Carleton, now a household name, wasted no time capitalizing on her notoriety. Less than a week after her acquittal, she published her own sensational accounts, an historical narrative of the German princess and the case of Madame Mary Carleton. These pamphlets, assured in tone and audacious in approach, supported her German princess persona. The authorship itself became a subject of gossip. Some scholars, unable to believe a woman of her background could write so learnedly, even suggested a man must have penned them. Her celebrity reached its peak when a play, The German Princess, was composed expressly for her, and she, astonishingly, acted in it herself at the Duke's house, Dorset Gardens. This was the ultimate meta-performance, a fraudster playing herself on stage, blurring the lines between reality and illusion. But the stage lights eventually faded, and Mary, ever restless, resumed her life of deception. She continued to take lovers, change identities, and support herself through cunning tricks and outright thievery. She would pretend to be a rich virgin heiress fleeing an undesirable suitor, even arranging for fake letters to arrive, supposedly containing updates on her vast inheritance. She defrauded various men and landlords, often with the aid of an accomplice disguised as a maid. Many of her victims, too embarrassed to admit they had been duped by a woman, never reported her crimes. She was accused of theft many times, but her luck and persuasive charm often kept her out of serious trouble, resulting in only brief jail stints. Mary Carleton's relentless pursuit of fortune eventually led to her downfall. In 1670, she was convicted of theft, a crime that carried a death sentence. However, her sentence was commuted to penal transportation to Jamaica. This was meant to be her final, ignominious exit from England. But Mary Carleton was not one to accept her fate. In 1672, with audacious cunning, she engineered her escape from Jamaica, possibly by conning her way aboard a ship. She returned to London, resuming her old tricks, even marrying an apothecary at Westminster and, predictably, stealing his money before leaving him. Her luck, however, finally ran out in December 1672. A sharp-eyed turnkey from Newgate Prison, searching for stolen loot, recognized her. The German princess was captured once more. Her final trial took place at the Old Bailey on January 16, 1673. The charge was not bigamy or theft, but the capital crime of returning from penal transportation without permission. Facing the gallows, Mary made one last desperate attempt to escape her fate, trying to plead the belly, a legal maneuver where a woman claimed pregnancy to delay execution. But a jury of matrons was brought in to examine her, and they found she was lying. On January 22, 1673, at the age of 30, Mary Carleton was publicly executed by hanging at Tyburn. Even at the gallows, she maintained a semblance of her theatrical persona, reportedly telling the vast crowd that she had been a very vain woman but hoped God would forgive her, as she forgave her enemies. She was buried in St. Martin's churchyard, and a poignant epitaph was later inscribed on her grave. The German princess here, against her will, lies underneath, and yet, oh strange, lies still. So, what are we to make of Mary Carleton, the German princess whose life was a relentless performance of deception and self-invention? Her story is a captivating, unsettling reminder of how easily perception can become reality, and how a charismatic individual can bend the world to their will, even if only for a fleeting moment. She was a woman who, in an era of scant social mobility for women, dared to carve out her own destiny, using her wit, charm, and audacity as her only tools. Her life, a constant cycle of new identities, scandalous marriages, and daring escapes, captivated 17th century London, making her an early, infamous example of celebrity culture. Her story even influenced literature, with some scholars arguing that the pamphlets written about her, blurring the lines between fact and fiction, may have kick-started the genre of realistic fiction, paving the way for writers like Daniel Defoe. Mary Carleton's legacy is a testament to the power of illusion and the enduring human fascination with those who dare to defy convention. As her biographer Francis Kirkman famously wrote, "How can truth be discovered of her who was wholly composed of falsehood?" Her tale forces us to question the nature of identity, the allure of a well-told lie, and the lengths to which one might go to escape the confines of their birth. What do you think of Mary Carleton's incredible, scandalous life? Was she a brilliant criminal, a tragic figure, or a pioneer of self-invention? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this journey into the art of deception intrigued you, hit that subscribe button. Because here, we're always unearthing the most compelling, controversial, and utterly vital stories that shape our world. See you in the next one.